Hello, everybody. It's your Realtor Jill again. If you have not noticed, the city of Houston just came out with a new FEMA flood map. And how does that affect you as a homeowner? We're going to find out today. So I'm inviting my good friend, vendor, Andrew Werley, an insurance agent broker here in Houston. And he's going to talk to us more about how that will affect you. Andrew, can you please introduce yourself?
Sure. Thanks for having me today, Jill. I really appreciate it. My name's Andrew Werley. I'm an agency owner with a brokerage called Goosehead, the Werley Agency. And as a broker, I have many different carriers, about 50 different home and auto carriers. I also have about a dozen different flood insurance carriers. And I provide services for Texas and Colorado and opening up in Georgia soon. But I live here in the Woodlands and very familiar with our flood and floodplains and all that stuff going on in Harris County and beyond.
So, Andrew, I will promise my audience that I'm going to ask some uncomfortable questions. Are you ready for the questions?
Of course. Happy to do
Okay.
it.
Okay, first of all, as a homeowner, how do I know that if my home is in a flood zone?
Well, the simplest way is to go to the FEMA website, go to the FEMA flood website, and there's a interactive map, and you can type in your address. We use it all the time, actually, to determine if somebody's in a flood zone. And you can type in your address. It'll pull up your address and a satellite image of your property, and it'll show you if you're in a flood zone or not. If it's clear, you're clear. If it's blue or any other color, you're in a flood zone.
Okay, and I will put the flood map in the description link below. Okay, second question. If my home was never flooded before, can the new FEMA map suddenly force me to buy flood insurance?
Well, I mean, this is America, so nobody can force you to do anything, right? But there are rules. Usually, the only thing that's going to force you to do anything is your lender. So if your home is mortgaged and you have a lender and that loan is backed by government funds, and 99% of them are, unless you did private equity, which I doubt most people listening to this did that, then you are going to be required by your lender, as petitioned by the government, to have flood insurance if your home is in a floodplain. If you own your home outright, if you pay cash for your home, you are not required by the government to get flood insurance. This is only in the case that you have a home loan. Your lender will require that you do get flood insurance if your home is now in a floodplain due to the new drawings.
Okay, and that leads me to the next question. If flood insurance actually required, is flood insurance actually required in Houston, or is that just something the lender tell us to do?
It definitely feels that way because most lenders want it. They want you to have it. It makes everybody feel good. All right, when the buyer has flood insurance, the lender feels better because they know that their asset, which is your home, is protected to its fullest capacity. But it is not required. Much of Houston is not in a floodplain. Only about 34% of Houston is actually in a floodplain. So there's still a good chunk of it that's not. It's what we would call flood zone X. So it's not in a floodplain at all. So it wouldn't be required. And your insurance agent, whoever's doing the insurance on your home loan, or excuse me, on your home purchase, can show you and tell you whether or not you're in a floodplain. But usually the lender's going to sniff that out before they get to the insurance part, and they're going to tell us we need to have flood insurance.
Okay, so does flood insurance like the regular home insurance where it take into account, the history of the homeowner, how much claims they have in the past, or what affects? I guess my question is, what affects the flood insurance premium?
Oh, yeah. Usually claims don't play a big role in the flood insurance premium. I've not seen that in my years of experience where we've seen a claim situation play a role in the premium. What plays the biggest role in premiums right now is whether or not you're in a floodplain. So if you're not in a flood zone, you're going to have the lowest premiums. And then as you move into the other flood areas, so there's a 500, a 300, 100, and then the X. And so as you move into those other flood zones, your premiums do tend to go up. So like, of course, coastal, you're going to have a really high premium over there because It's very likely to flood if you're in the Galveston or coastal area. And then as you move into Houston, it's going to go down a little bit. But usually it's just a matter of location. That's what's going to affect the premium the most.
Okay, so now I know there's certain factors that affect the premium, but can you please give us a ballpark? Say if I buy a home, 2,500 square feet, about 400K in Houston, and it is in the 500-year flood zone,
Okay.
how much flood insurance would be?
Of course. Um, well, it depends on how you go, but with the value, so the value here, one of the things you need to know is, so they have the value of the home at 400,000. FEMA maximum coverage is 250. So if a lender is requiring that you have flood insurance, the maximum the lender can require is 250,000. Now you can, through private flood insurance avenues, get more coverage, but the maximum your lender can require is 250. So with that kind of math, if you're in that 500-year floodplain, you're looking at about $1,500 a year flood insurance cost at the 250 point for insuring the building, and then another 100,000, which is maximum with FEMA flood for contents.
So everybody, for the context, I did not give Andrew all these questions to see him answering on the fly. So now, if I buy, $1 million home, right, in the same
Mhm.
flood zone, the lender will only require up to 250K of coverage still.
That's all they're legally allowed to require, because the government funded insurance, which is FEMA or right flood, only goes to 250,000. It's their maximum. Now, thank you for this avenue to talk about private. As a broker, of course, I have the FEMA flood. We all have that. The thing is, most captive agents, so a captive agent is somebody who only sells one product. Allstate, State Farm, Progressive, Geico, they only have one product. Brokers like me, who have all those products, we have also access to private carriers. So the captive insurance agent only has right flood. They don't have anything else, just right flood. If you go to a broker, then you have access to private flood as well. And in many cases, private flood insurance is cheaper than government flood insurance, and it's more reliable because it's not affected by government shutdowns. And they have a very strong tendency towards customer service, because they're not the government. They want to make their customer happy. They want to keep them. So the renewals are a little bit lower usually. And I usually tell clients, if you get private coverage, you're going to be the first one in your neighborhood that has a fixed house, while everybody else is still waiting on the government. But that's when my clients with $1 million homes and upwards of that we need full coverage, that want to cover up to $1 million or more, we use private flood insurance, because we can take those rates much, much higher to make sure their home is fully covered.
Got it. Say same house, 500K. For private flood insurance, how much would that be compared to the government backed flood insurance?
Well, I mean, you're looking at adding at least another $1,000 to $1,200 to the premium. So we're getting up and down to the $2,500, $3,000 range for flood insurance, just for the flood insurance. If you're going to insure it for maximum value, yeah.
Got it. Okay. Next question for Andrew is if I'm buying a house and just move into a high risk flood zone, will my insurance cost double overnight?
Yeah. Oh, so you just bought a house and it's switched, because we just had a big switch, right? Is that what you're saying? So you bought it, it was X, now it's A, right? It was flood zone
Actually,
X.
when I bought it, it was not. Say when I bought it, is a 500-year flood zone, right? Now
Okay.
the flood map to change. Do I pay the extra premium right on the next month, or will it take some time to be ineffective?
It'll take time. It's the government. It's going to take time, but it will come to you eventually. There will be a day when you do have to pay the full premium. The lender is going to require full payment of the flood insurance all the way. So that excess amount could be, let's say hopefully you have flood insurance, and now it's in a
Mhm.
floodplain. So you're right. It's going to go up. It's going to go up at least by 50% or so. So now you owe, let's say you had a $500 flood insurance policy. Now you're going to have $1,000 insurance policy. So there's going to come a time when the lender says, hey, you're now in a floodplain. Your flood insurance went up. You know, it's $500 to cut your escrow up, or we're going to raise your mortgage rate, raise your mortgage payment in order to catch your escrow up so we can start making this payment for you.
Whoa.
Well,
That's a lot.
that's
Okay. So
also,
now,
I will say, I'm sorry, just
yeah, go ahead.
another really good thing about when the government require, or excuse me, when the lender requires that you have flood insurance, you can escrow it. You can put it in with your mortgage payment, so you can make
Sure.
that monthly payment. You don't have to pay it all at once every
Mhm.
year. So it can help you kind of budget for that down the road. If you don't require it, then you can't do that. We have to just pay cash in full every year.
Okay. That is really good to know.
Mhm.
Now, if my home has never flooded and not in the flood zone, not in the new flood map, um, do I still need flood insurance?
That's really it's up to your appetite. How much risk are you willing to take? The most recent mega flood event that happened in Harris County in the Houston area was Harvey, and during that time, almost 10% of Houston flooded. So if percentage wise, you can say, well, 90%, you have a 90% chance that you're not going to flood, based on where you are. Um,
Mhm.
but over the history of Harris County, we've seen up to 73% of the city has flooded at different points, in its history. So it can, it doesn't really matter if you're in a flood zone or not. It's what you're comfortable with. As we, somebody who's looking at these things, as the more cement we add to our city, the more parking lots we build, the more buildings we put in place, the more we take up grassland and things that were meant to soak up the rain and just make instead now it's just sitting on cement. We're going to cause more floodplains. So if you're seeing a lot of construction, a lot of infrastructure going in around your house where it used to be grassy and trees and wooded, and now it's parking lots and buildings and strip centers, it might be time to buy some flood insurance because that rainwater has nowhere to go. And eventually those bayous, excuse me, do fill up and it can cause quite an issue.
Now, if my house is not in the flood zone and I just want to buy flood insurance for a peace of mind, and say 20 years later, my house happened to be in the flood zone, is there a cap that my insurance premium will go up to, or will it just eventually adjust itself toward, the premium of the flood zone? I'm sorry if my question doesn't make sense to you. Let me
Kind of
know if you
makes
need
sense.
clarification.
Is there a cap on the premium, essentially?
Right. Like
There,
I already have the flood insurance, even though my house is not flooded, right?
right.
Never in the flood zone. Now, when the house eventually in the flood zone, because the zoning changes all the time,
Mhm.
um, will the premium go, to whatever I have to pay if my house has been in the flood zone, or will it be a cap of slowly raising over the year? You know what I mean?
Oh, yes. No, there won't be a slow increase.
Okay.
It's merciless. It's just numbers. So
Okay.
it'll just be a flat increase. Believe it or not, the state of Texas does regulate how much insurance rates can go up. In fact, this was a big issue in California recently, which caused major carriers to leave the state because they weren't letting the rates go up, even though the home values were going up. They wouldn't let the rates go up. And so in Texas, they both, even though we've seen astronomical renewals and rates going up in Texas these past few years, there is a governing body that does determine how much those rates can be increased. And so and that does play for flood insurance as well. So they can't just gouge you with 1,000% increase because there is a governing body there, but it is still pretty high. I think it's like 50%. It's pretty generous to the insurance companies at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Um, so if I'm selling my home and the new FEMA map hurts my value,
Mm.
what can I actually do to to mitigate the damage.
Go into FEMA and getting a elevation certificate will help. Providing that to your realtor so they can provide it to the buyers will be a nice gesture. Sometimes the elevation certificate can help reduce how much flood insurance costs. So that would be one very simple thing you can do, pretty cost effective to help bring the value of the home where it needs to be. And then shop the rates for them. Have some rates ready to go. Say, hey, we know it's in a floodplain now. Here's 3 different carriers. We've shopped it around for you, and here's some competitive rates. And just doing those, just thinking, competitively, thinking aggressively, like how can I get ahead of this to help my home sale go better? But there's really not a whole lot else that can be done.
Yes, yes. From an insurance agent perspective, do you see in the past couple years, actually since Harvey, do you see people that actually comfortable with buying houses in the flood zone?
Well, we moved here from Steamboat Springs, Colorado. We lived up in the mountains, no flood risk, and and we moved here. I fell in love with a house on Cypresswood. Just loved it. Just great house, and we had a lot of equity from our home in Colorado, and so we were able to afford something pretty nice. And we are really close to buying it, and we found out it wasn't in the disclosures. It was discovered later that the home had flooded, and my wife said, "Nope, not going to happen." Now, honestly, she wanted to live in the woodlands anyway, so it worked out. So we ended
Yeah,
up coming to the woodlands. But and then to be honest, I was kind of with her. It gave us a really eerie feeling, the knowing that it had flooded, and they didn't disclose it. That made it even worse. And so,
hmm
so we just, for us, we became very uncomfortable with the home purchase after that. But I love that house. I still love the house. I still think about it. It's a beautiful house, a huge lot, and it was great. So I mean, if you fall in love with the house, you buy the house. Just protect yourself, and it'll be fine.
hmm hmm
It's kind of like when somebody called me about a car. They say, "Oh, I want to buy this car. How much is the insurance?" So it's like, "Well, do you like the car?" "Well, yeah, I love this car. I've always wanted a convertible, or I've always wanted a Range Rover." Well, then buy the car. Don't worry about it. If you're worried about insurance, you can't afford the car. So, but if you like the car and you can afford the car, then buy the car. The insurance is going to be the insurance. It's not going to be that bad. And I'd say the
Yeah,
same thing for a house. If you like the house and you love the house, that's fine. Just know you got to protect it. It'll be okay.
yeah. For me, I really looked at how many times has it been flooded in the past. Now, if it's just only flooded during Harvey, then maybe I can give it some consideration. But if it's flooded for 2 times or more, then it will be a no go for me. But Harvey, yeah, I can
Yeah.
look past that.
Yes, and I think that's realistic. And eventually FEMA will condemn the land, and you won't be able to build a house there anymore because of the repetition of floods. And that could be a very difficult situation to work through with a lender. And some lenders won't give you the loan if it's seen multiple flood events on the property. So there's lots of other factors to consider for sure.
That is so true. Okay, last question will be a question toward home insurance, right? What is the biggest lie or misunderstanding Houston homeowners believe about insurance? Is insurance a scam?
And well, I make a living from it. I mean, you and I work together a lot, and I really appreciate that. And I think you like working with me because I'm real and authentic, and I treat your clients well.
You
And
are.
thank
You are
you.
so honest.
And this soul could not imagine selling somebody a lie. Like I would, when somebody loses coverage, like there's a lapse, something happens. I lose sleep when one of my clients has a lapse in coverage. I have a lot of clients, and so
Oh,
because I believe in it. Now, are all carriers created equal? No, there are some bad apples out there for sure. But just because there's a few bad carriers doesn't mean all insurance is a scam. There are some
mhm.
really, really great carriers out there, and having a broker who's familiar with the market, familiar with carriers, and can discern those things for you is very important. But no, it's not a scam. It's real, and I've seen insurance do some amazing things for people. rebuilding homes. And I mean, even in my time, seeing trees fall through houses and lots of trees falling into the garages and trees, things
Yeah.
doing stuff like that. And just incredible ways that insurance stepped in fast and took great care of people. And then, life insurance as well. I mean, I saw that too. And I've seen, families, they're even going through that tremendous loss, has created a completely different generational scope pathway for that family because they had life insurance. So, and the life insurance carrier paid the $1 million or $2 million claim, and that family was set up for life. And so, I've seen insurance do incredible things, and I'm really grateful for it. I'm grateful that that it does take care of people, because that's what I care about.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, last question, and again, this question is not on the list that I provided to Andrew. So if
Oh
I'm a
boy.
regular home buyer, I'm a first-time home buyer, if I
Okay.
want to save on my insurance premium, what should I do? Or if a seasoned home buyer and I want to save on my insurance premium, what should I do? Please answer in the two scenarios.
Okay. What was the first one? You're a first time home buyer and you want to save.
First-time home buyer, never own a home, never claim anything on insurance.
Okay. And what was the second one?
A seasoned home buyer. So I have owned 4 or 5 homes, and now I'm buying my fifth one.
Okay. Okay. For the first time home buyer, one, listen, there's lots of great funny commercials out there advertising lots of different agencies, and I enjoy them all. And some of them I represent. So don't just go to your mom and dad's insurance company. Shop the rates. In fact, there's a huge one right now that takes care of our military, and I usually beat their rates by thousands of dollars. And so it's really unfortunate, because I think our military should be taken very well care of, and that they're being charged a premium by this insurance company that really
Oh
focuses
no.
on them. So shop, 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 shop. So get a broker, go to your favorite captive agency, whatever that is, all states, the state farms, all those. So go to that, that's fine. Then get a broker and really take your time with the insurance. If your realtor will probably be able to provide a broker for you, or your loan
Mhm.
officer will be able to provide a broker for you. So if you don't know one, and then, and so shop the market. If you're a first time home buyer, brick homes are the best to insure. Like, insurance companies love brick homes, so look for brick
Oh,
homes. Yes.
okay. You about
So
to make my job harder because on top of all the criteria, they have to look for brick homes.
brick
Okay.
homes or hardy plank. Brick homes and hardy plank are both really. Hardy plank is rated like brick, and so it's very fire resistant. A roof that goes down on all sides, that's kind of slopes down on all sides, is called a hip roof. It's cheaper to insure. So, but for hip roofs, brick homes, my brain, I drive through neighborhoods and I don't even think the same anymore. My wife's like, that house is cute. I'm like, it's not a hip roof. It's just like, so, and then do not settle for an old roof. I think right now what I'm seeing is roofs are the culprit of high insurance rates at the moment. So if you have a house that has a 10-year-old or a 15-year-old roof, I would work into the deal an opportunity to maybe replace that roof or something, because you're going to pay a premium for insurance, and you're about 5 years away from being uninsurable. Once that roof hits 20 years, it's not insurable anymore. And so that's a thing. So as a first time home buyer, those are the things you want to watch out for. First off, you want to shop all the rates. You want to look at brick and hardy plank houses, a good sturdy roof, and a good newish roof, and you'll be in good shape. The seasoned home buyer, if you can fix it, fix it. Do not claim it. I know insurance is there for claims. I know. But at the same time, those claims will over time affect your rates, and they do cause rates to go up, just like your auto insurance. And after so if you have 3 or 4 claims, at some point I lose carriers. I can't insure you. I can insure you, but I don't have as many options, so I can't be as competitive. So I might have only 2 or 3 instead of 7 options. And so the fewer claims you can make as a seasoned home buyer or homeowner, the better off you'll be. Just try and keep those claims low, and that'll save you in the long run. But again, if you have to file a claim. Tree goes through your house, you got to file that claim. Fire, you got to file the claim. So just be mindful, take care of your home, and be a good homeowner. You'll be fine.
Is there any claims that does not affect the future premium? And is there a claim that will affect the future premium? Say, for example, if my house roof is so old that I have to change it, right? It's nothing that I did wrong in order to
Mhm.
make the roof get older. It's a time. So claims like that affect the insurance premium later.
Yes, and it follows you. It'll follow you for the next 5 to 7 years, depending on the carrier. But I will say this, and I don't. Again, as a broker, I represent you. I represent the client. I don't represent the insurance company. So I
Mhm.
have a client right now. He has homeowners insurance with one of my carriers, and he just got a new roof. His rate's going to go up. But other carriers are going to see the new roof and be like, "Hey, I want to insure that." And so we're just going to move him to a different carrier and get the savings because now he has a new roof. Now that will that claim be there? Yep, it's going to go with him. But he just has one claim. Just has the roof. He doesn't have multiple little claims on top of that. But there's no, at the end of the, I tell you, the worst possible claim that for anything for home or auto is going to be personal injury. If you're home, if a dog bit somebody, or if you hurt somebody, put them in the hospital, and there's a personal injury, that is devastating to your insurance rates. That is really, really bad. So if you hurt somebody so bad because of neglect or whatever, an accident or whatever, and you put them in the hospital, and there's $100,000 claim on there for personal injury, that is devastating to insurance rates.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, thank you, Andrew, for all of the very, very helpful information.
yeah.
Um, if you're a Houston home buyer or seller, you're looking for home insurance, personal insurance, or auto insurance, please hit Andrew up. He's the most honest insurance agent broker that I know. Please comment in the comment below to tell me what other vendors you're looking to hear from next time. Now, Andrew,
Mhm.
thank you so much for your time. Is there any last thing you want to say to the audience?
No, just go be happy and take care of each other and love each other. And hopefully I'll see you out there one day.
Perfect, perfect. Okay, thank you so much, Andrew. And to everybody, I will see you at the next video. Thank you so much for watching.